are not alone on your journey. Listen in to the Unshakable Living Show, Supernaturally and Divinely Unshakable with Lysa Beltz. Twice a month for your well-deserved dose of positive energy and your personal reminder that you are perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. Find your true calling and influence the world around you for the better with your profound gifts. Walk away feeling truly unshakable. Remember, God can't steer a parked car, so step on the gas now with Lysa and let him do the rest. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It is Wednesday, April 13th, 2022, and we are just so happy to have you here with us. I hope everybody is having an unshakable week. Regardless of what's happening around you, circumstances are temporary, our unshakableness is eternal. And I'm really, really excited to welcome my guest tonight. Amy Zanders and I have known each other for several years. We are both life coaches, although with a little bit different emphasis, but we have an awful lot in common. So Amy, welcome. I really appreciate you being here with me tonight.
Oh, thank you, Lysa. Thanks for having me. I am so excited to be here tonight and share with your listeners today.
Awesome. So we're going to dive in here in just a minute, but first I want to say Amy is a published author. And so I'm going to kind of show her latest book. And Amy and I actually started our writing career together a few years ago. We did a devotional for a nonprofit here in Boise that we both support. And I don't think that one's available anymore, but it was still a great endeavor. And so, Amy, rather than taking the time for me to introduce you, I'm just going to ask if you would go ahead and introduce yourself, kind of set us up a little bit for us to talk about the difference between prayer versus meditation tonight.
Well, as you mentioned, my name is Amy, and I am a 3D health coach. I work with my clients to integrate all three aspects of health, which would include body, soul, and spirit. So I've been working with clients for about 13 years. And as you mentioned, I'm an author, I'm a mom, and really I'm a survivor of 6 concussions. So that's kind of how I got started. The concussions kind of forced me into a journey trying to get my health back. As you can imagine, with 6 concussions, I had a lot that I had to work with. And you can find out more about that.
Yeah, and they're technically qualified as traumatic brain injuries, correct? They're TBIs.
Yes. So I have a little bit more on my bio about just kind of where I came from and a little bit about what I do. And that's at ireachforward.com. So really the thing that I wanted to mention, as far as meditation is, I find that a lot of people, particularly Christians, are concerned about meditation. They feel like there's certain techniques or that they're worried about it. And I just want to bring out that word. It's kind of like the key word for me tonight is about intentional. So whatever it is that's going on with your life, that I think prayer and meditation is something that we need to be intentional about.
Yes, couldn't agree more. And I'm going to ask you just to mention a little bit more about your certification as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I'm a certified life coach through the American Association of Christian Counselors. So I'm also an integrative nutrition health coach through IIN. That's integrative. I'm like, got to think about what that is. Integrated International. Anyway. And then I also have a certified recovery nutrition. Because I've worked with a lot of clients who are dealing with possibly drugs and alcohol, but then dealing with depression, anxiety, panic attacks, things like that. Maybe food addiction, something like that. So
okay. Awesome. Yeah. Well, so let's dive into the prayer and meditation. So for yourself personally, when did you start, or why did you start meditating?
So really, it was all about my thoughts, paying attention to my thoughts, wherever your thoughts they take you. And so your thoughts are they're going to take you wherever you are going to go. And there you are. So my thoughts would drag me into this depression, despair, panic. And that's actually really common with trauma or a traumatic brain injury. And I could really clearly see that in a way I had done it to myself by allowing my thoughts to consume me. And I had tried the idea of, completely surrender and just let the pain and the grief, become my identity. But it didn't take much to see that I really had to fight for my life and be intentional about my healing, and that there was a good, strong connection. I could see that very clearly between my thoughts and then how I felt physically, and then my emotions, which would be soul as well. So I've learned, to use that time of meditation as a source of clarity and strength instead of allowing that darkness to overtake my thoughts. So that's kind of how I got started.
Okay, so prayer versus meditation. I think we all have a pretty common understanding of prayer, although there's different practices of prayer.
Sure.
What do you mean by meditation? And are there different types of meditation?
So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because the meditation to a lot of people, means, okay, I'm sitting in this certain position, I have to chant a certain thing or whatever. um, but really, meditation, the definition of it is deep, focused, extended, contemplative thought. So the example could be, someone's meditating on the solution for their algebra problem, or someone is meditating on, like an athlete meditating on exactly the points, the steps that it takes to execute a perfect slam dunk. So you probably have actually seen professional athletes, like in the Olympics or the NBA or something, sitting on the sidelines. They'll put their earbuds in and put their hood up, and they're sitting there focusing. They're not just tuning out the world, they're actually practicing what it is that they know that they need to go out there and do.
Yep.
And this is really based upon the idea that the brain can't tell the difference between the actual practice of mental practicing habits or physical practicing of habits.
Yep.
So when I say meditation, then really I'm talking about intentionally participating in deep focused thinking about what you want in your life. So meditation really by definition isn't anything religious. Certainly could involve religion and religious practice. So as far as with prayer is specifically a religious practice. So really meditation is about deep thinking and focus, and it's choosing an attitude, and it's again that intentionality and thinking. There's certainly a couple of different ways you can do it.
Okay, so the other word that comes to mind is visualization. So is visualization the same as meditation, or is it different?
Well, so I think the techniques of meditation, it could be visualization. Not everybody's actually a visual learner, or you could say, as far as like a visual thinker. There's lots of different types of thinking. There's logical thinking, there's a visual thinking, then there's an analytical thinking. There's lots of different types of thinking. So meditation is not necessarily visual, although especially if you are a visual person, that's certainly something good to incorporate. And then, like an auditory person. And so saying something aloud, so that helps you focus your attention. So, what one person thinks of as attention might be completely different than someone else.
Okay, so another thing that I've heard meditation called is centered prayer. Would you say that that is prayer or meditation?
Well, I think that really the answer to that is there is an Eastern meditation method, and that's what most people think of in our modern times when we say meditation. And the biblical idea of meditation has to do specifically with prayer. And really that kind of comes down to what the purpose of, if you want to say it that way, what the purpose of the meditation is. So, both types of meditation will take advantage of quiet, trying to focus, paying attention, like you said, using your imagination. And definitely there's an aspect of relaxing. So you want your body to be relaxed and be in a safe environment, because physical is not the focus. when you're doing meditation. So with biblical meditation, there's definitely an intentionality about transformation, because so it's really based upon Romans 12:2 for biblical.
Okay.
That scripture says, be transformed by renewing your mind. So meditation really is about your mind, and biblical meditation does relax the body, and you can use imagination, but it's the idea of seeking wisdom and gaining a different perspective and insight. And that really has a lot to do with prayer, is that intentionality is focusing on actual being. And that's different than the Eastern meditation purpose. One of the key purposes with Eastern meditation really is to relax the body for rest and refreshing and reflection. I'm saying both words at
Both
the
words
same time.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, reflection. Yeah. But that can help a person emotionally as well. So with Eastern meditation, there's really an element of emptying the mind and entering a state of universality, and where you are void of thought or worry or individuality. And it's really the idea of kind of like a mental getaway, kind of a mental vacation.
Okay.
And you might kind of relate this to how you feel when you're at the ocean or looking at a starry sky at night or something like that, because you have that sensation of being small and insignificant compared to the vastness, of the universe or the ocean or whatever. And so the purpose with, with the Eastern meditation really is to have that mental getaway and that mental break. And then the biblical meditation purpose really is to renew your mind. And then there's a relational aspect, which is prayer. So it really depends upon which type of meditation that you're engaging in, as far as, if it incorporates prayer or not.
Yeah. And I'm reminded of the scripture, on his word, I will meditate day and night.
Mm-hmm.
So as I think about setting an intention for prayer versus an intention for meditation, it feels just kind of off the top here, like that kind of meditation is more receiving from God, where prayer is probably taking my request to him.
Mm-hmm.
So is there kind of a give and take? Is that a good way to think about it?
Yeah. And I think if I was going to define prayer, then I would say prayer is technically a legal term. So, a couple of years back, I was in a legal situation because of a car accident that I had been in. And that was one of the concussions that I had. And there is literally a document that the lawyer had to produce that is called a prayer. And it's request. It is, here's exactly what our expectations are. Here's where we are. Here's our standards of what we're looking for, what it is that we believe, and our perspective. So that is, prayer is it's like a legal document that you're presenting and making requests, like you said, to God.
Okay, so we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, Amy, can we actually talk about what prayer meditation does to, like, the chemicals in the brain? Yes. So don't go away. We'll be right back. And welcome back. We are here with Amy Zanders talking about the difference between prayer and meditation, and biblical meditation versus Eastern meditation. So Amy, you were kind of talking about from a legal aspect that there is an article of prayer. Can we actually switch gears just a little bit? And I am pretty fascinated by the brain. Talk to me again, or a little bit more, about what literally happens in our brain when we're in prayer versus meditation, and the different types of meditation.
Yeah, this is a kind of one of my favorite topics. I can go off on this. So,
yeah.
So really, a lot of this that we have to look at it is back to where I said that we've got 3 dimensions in our body. We have our soul, we have our spirit. So both types of meditation are that one of the goals is to increase your sense of emotional peace. And physically in your body, both types of meditation calm your fear circuits. So, you get in a stressful situation and your brain needs to get out of that and kind of take a break, go have a little quiet time. And like we say to the small children, maybe, take a time out, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Literally Meditation lowers a person's blood pressure and their heart rate. And so the area that is really the difference with Eastern and biblical meditation would be spiritually. But that overflows a lot into the soul. And you might know that. But biblically speaking, with biblical meditation, what you're actually looking for is, you're taking your concern, whatever you're worrying or your stress or whatever it is, instead of trying to escape it and take a vacation from it and just take a break. With biblical meditation, what you're actually trying to do is you're giving it to God as a prayer, but you're also activating a different level of brain chemistry because you're looking for insight. So you're looking for an aha. And according to Dr. Caroline Leaf, she talks about having an aha moment, literally gives your brain its ideal chemistry. And it literally will reset when you get an aha or an insight. It will reset your personal chemistry in that moment to ideal chemistry, which is perfect for your body's, as far as motivation, energy, learning, working, healing, all of those things. So having insights is something that's specifically paired with and aligns with biblical meditation. Eastern meditation is kind of the opposite, I guess you'd say, is you're trying to reduce insight. You're not looking for new information. You're not looking for deep understanding on something. You're looking for the getaway. And the only concern about that is with that type of meditation is, if you get into the mode of there has to be good and evil and I can't do anything about this and I'm just trying to escape it, it's kind of a fatalistic, it could become a negative fatalistic thing and an escapism. And so that part of it could become a negative thing as well.
And I know you and I talked before about and I'm going to get the words wrong, the theta brain waves and the beta brain waves and truly the chemistry.
Right.
Can we go there?
So with biblical meditation, you're activating the conversation areas in your brain. And this is an awareness and an anticipation of an expected response, as opposed to with Eastern meditation. Then with a mantra that's part of usually Eastern meditation, to where you're reciting something, it's like a memorized rhyme, you're actually releasing a different chemistry. And there's so you have the theta, the alpha waves, I don't want to say it wrong, the alpha waves on when you have Eastern meditation, and then you have beta waves with biblical meditation. I want to make sure I say it correctly.
In the right order, yeah.
So beta waves are increased with prayer and considering, reasoning. These are the higher logic and higher cortex functions in your brain. And with prayer and biblical meditation, it literally is activating not only those relational centers in your brain because of the prayer aspect, but also it's beta waves. And that establishes a better balance, I guess you could say, in your brain, so that you're not overusing one side of your brain versus another. So when we're looking at the type of going on that mental break, mental vacation for Eastern meditation, then you're having that automatic rote recitation, like we can say the ABCs and we don't have to think about it, that sort of thing.
Right.
Or like watching TV, there's kind of like a down regulation or a lower gear when you get into those alpha and theta waves. And that's like daydreaming, that sort of thing. So a recall is different when you're not trying to memorize or remember, you're not doing problem solving, there's no logic. And those higher functions are actually down regulated a little bit, which is great for if you're worrying, then what you're doing is pushing thoughts away. And that would be the Eastern meditation style. But then with biblical meditation, you're not pushing away the thoughts. You're actually taking those thoughts and gathering them up. And I've heard people say, put them in a basket and, take them to God, that you're having an actual, conversation. You can see there's a difference.
And then which one of them resembles or kind of replicates like deep sleep?
The alpha and theta waves, then that's the daydreaming. That's like the type of the transcendental, say, meditation with Eastern meditation. So that's like the daydreaming, or anyway, that's like the deep meditation. And
Okay.
so biblical meditation, it's not that it shuts that down. It's that you're going more on the beta side, which kind of gives you this balance to where you can kind of have a little bit of both. And what I've been taught is that that's actually better for your brain, as long as
Okay.
you don't go too hard on the beta. If you go too hard on beta, that's called worry. And we don't want all of that, because you're just sitting there recycling on this thought and not making any progress.
Okay. So I just thought, can we back up? Is it easier? Can we quickly just say what alpha, beta, and theta brainwaves even are?
Well, basically, just I'm not going to get at all into it really, but
Yeah. Yeah.
basically, it's only been in the last, I want to say, maybe 25 years that these things are known about the brain, because the technology wasn't even available
Yep.
further back than that,
Yes.
about what happens in someone's brain when it's a living brain. Everything prior to the last 20, 25 years has really been just based upon what they could observe off of a cadaver. And so there are different wavelengths, and your brain actually activates in a different way when it's producing different types of wavelengths. And so, for example, the alpha and theta is more like daydreaming or sleeping, resting, zoning out, that kind of thing. And then beta is more like when you are having those ahas, you're getting in that active moment, you're making decisions, you're setting goals, and you're more forward momentum. And so it's kind of that higher cognitive reasoning, that kind of thing.
So if I think about some specific examples, so if I'm trying to decide if I should start a new business and I want God's input, which type of prayer or meditation would you think you would use?
Well, I would say there's a place for each type. And really, if you're looking for wisdom and you're able to be at peace so that you're calm enough, but you're really looking for a dialogue with God, then that's really the idea of the biblical meditation, to where you're, say, like found a scripture that you're saying, I'm not alone, and I can do all things, like, I can do all
Uh-huh.
things through Christ who strengthens me, something like that. And being able to really meditate on that and focus on that, and add your prayer and have your prayer dialogue surrounded on that particular thought. That's similar to a mantra, but you're actually, instead of just repeating it, you're actually engaging in a conversation, and you're looking for the opportunity to lay aside your concerns, not completely push them away.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as long as we're able to get ourselves in a calm state and let go, then really the idea about the biblical idea of meditation truly is that the universe has a personality and a character and principles, and his name is Jesus. So so that
Yes.
when we meditate on him, we get to know him, and it's called the law of adoration. We become more like him as we meditate on him and his principles, and that is transformation, because we become, rather than and that's a different purpose and a different focus, completely different
Yeah.
than just rest.
And so, Amy, you just used one of my favorite words, and that's the word transformation.
Mhm.
And again, you already mentioned Romans 12:2. It's, be ye transformed by the renewing or the making new of your mind. So as coaches, a lot of what you and I both do is help people transform from where they're at today to where they want to be. We talk about that counseling looks back at your history. Life coaches help you look forward and build the
Always.
future you want. And it's like I say in my introduction, God can't steer a parked car.
Mhm.
So listeners, Amy and I are both available for you as coaches. If you have something that you want to change in your life, if you're not sure where you want to go next, both of us are available to help you. Reach out to either one of us. The information is online. You can go to www.transformationtalkradio and find this episode. You can go to Amy's website, ireachforward.com, or to my website at www.lysabeltz.com, LYSABELTZ. Most of you probably know that by now. I really want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And Amy, there's so much we didn't cover. We may have to come back and do this again so that we can go a little bit deeper next time. All right, everybody. My next show is on April 27th, and I'm going to have the lovely Jennifer Stewart on with me from New Brunswick, Canada, and we'll be talking about energy and emotion code. Everybody have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. You've been listening to the Unshakable Living Show, Supernaturally and Divinely Unshakable with Lysa Beltz. Tune in twice a month for your well-deserved dose of positive energy and your personal reminder that you are perfectly imperfect, and that's okay. Find your true calling and influence the world around you for the better with your profound gifts. Walk away feeling truly unshakable. Remember, God can't steer a parked car, so step on the gas now with Lysa and let Him do the rest.